Cloud. Okay, we're recording. Good morning, everybody. This is Mark Wriggle with John Lavenia's Success Mastermind. Today is October 1st, 9 days into the fall after the, what do they call it, the autumnal equinox. So for those of us in the northern side of the planet, we are seeing waning days and waxing nights. And for those on the south, they're probably a little bit happier because things are improving for them. They're going to start seeing some more daylight. So today I wanted to, there's a topic I would like to cover called kind of like the one we did a couple weeks ago, where you're making, it's not that you're really making a choice, but there comes a time where there are some decisions that have to come to pass. So what this is called is channeling spirit. That is the official name of this presentation. Great initiative, poor judgment. That is what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to just kind of kick things off that way. Let me do this, see if I can get this going. Hold on just a moment. I'm almost there. Still trying to figure this out sometimes. Okay, so share screen, and here we go. Good morning, everybody, by the way. I know everybody here as usual, so, but I want to open this up as soon as I can. And there's a part of this, there's a little story I want to tell. There's a little story I would like to tell as well. Somebody is, hang on a second here. Somebody is open. And let me see if I can get that. Everybody, that's good? All right, thank you. Okay, stand by. Okay, so here we go. I try to stick to kind of the same time frame. So as I do these every couple weeks, I'm going to just kind of open things up to tell a short story and then really open up for group discussion. This is, it's important in our general sessions to be able to do that and then end the session with any comments that our fearless leader, Gion Lavenia, would like to come out, the magnet. So anyway, to start things off, I kind of want to talk, you wonder what goes on behind the scenes and, you know, do facilitators in the group talk? You know, we've kind of grown this family. So I want to talk about something that happened over the last 12 hours or so. Last night, Glenn had his networking magic. And during the session, Glenn and John, I don't know how it really came out, but next thing you know, I think one of them came out and started playing Jungle Boogie by Kool and the Gang. And that just clicked because I grew up and I grew up through the 70s and 80s. So I was through the disco area and, you know, and classic rock and all that. That was kind of my thing. So I just, we were all kind of jamming there for a couple seconds while that was playing. And it was kind of fun. It was a great session, by the way, Glenn, a great session. And John came out in a really good motivational time. If you missed it, the networking magic is a great evening, you know, great evening hour. So later on that night, I was working on some other things, and about 11:15, I was winding down, and I just felt like, and I was still kind of pumped from that session. So I thought, what do I want to do? And I just, that song kept coming back. So I said, well, and I was thinking in my mind, says, okay, Glenn, okay, John, you know, oh, by the way, Glenn, John, how about John Glenn? Oh, anybody remember that name? Anyway, so I started looking through YouTube and, oh, there's another Kool and the Gang song, Fresh. So I listened to that and I said, you know what, I'm going to post these things. So I went into our little facilitators Skype group and started, you know, posting these things. And after that, I said, okay, what else? I party train. So you could see the list, and one right after the other over the course of about 20 minutes to a half hour, I would listen to these, and I would then I would post them. And that was just done because I was having a throwback moment. And those guys, they are kind of close to, you know, in and around, you know, my age bracket, and they probably remember some of these songs. So I thought I'd throw there, and it was really motivating, and it was good for the spirit, and it just brought me up and in that place before I was going to go to bed, and I really felt comfortable. What does this have to do with great initiative and poor judgment? Well, not so much necessarily, but I'm just kind of telling the story, kind of, letting you know where we were at, and know that I'm kind of getting to the point here, so hang with me. Then I sent a personal 4 to Glenn, Kung Fu Fighting, and I thought, okay, maybe, Glenn will have a chance to listen, and he might get a chuckle out of that. He's been a DJ. He was a big DJ in New York, so he probably knows all this stuff, probably played 1,000 times and is tired of it. And then this morning, I get on there, and that's one of the first things I do is I open it up, take a look, hey, is there been any communication as we kind of coordinate things? And Jamie, lo and behold, puts on there, "We Are Family." So I listen to Sister Sledge, and I'm going, what a great song for the day. This group, we are family. So if you haven't listened to these songs, I invite you to go, take a little time in the evening or through the day, and you need a break, or you're having one of those barrier moments and you just need to kind of do a reset. You'll find some of that music that you played when you were a kid. Remember, we talked about that. What did we do as children that we want to go back to? Or when you're young, just to take a moment and do a refresh, so to speak. So I thought, okay, so where do I end this? Well, I'm going to start off with I would say it was a great initiative. I'm going to put something out there for everybody. And anybody who's ever listened to Bust a Move, the lyrics, I challenge everybody here over the next, next year, or whenever we decide down the road, if we go do a llama tour with Stuart, or we ever get together someplace, see if you can see who wants to put the challenge together and learn those lyrics, and maybe we'll call people out as a group. And maybe we'll be doing something at a karaoke event, Glenn, and we'll all get up there, and if you have the sheet music so you can know the lyrics, fine. But just get everybody and have a moment, and be family, do the karaoke together, do the event together, and just take some pictures and make that one of those, one of those amazing moments that we all had as a family someplace. So yeah, maybe I'm going way out there on the daydreaming thing, but this is the visualization. Remember the morning miracle stuff, and the savers and all that. Just start doing some of these visualizations and this law of attraction. Maybe some of the stuff will start to collect for us, and we'll get together as a group and make this happen. Okay, so let's get into the topic, starting point. I want to talk about military phraseology. Overall, when somebody talks about great initiative and poor judgment, this is what they mean in the military sense. And how do Marines say it? And there is a slight differentiation. And really, the phrase is coined and is used much more so in the Marine Corps, because we're much more keen to that. And and why is that? Well, I don't think there's any secret that Marines have a tendency to be sort of A personalities, very direct, very driven. There's a reason that we're kind of tip of the spear sort of people, and where we go and what we do. And it's not to take away from Spec Ops or the SAS or the SBS or the Gurkhas or the people that are in a whole different realm. But it's just that's the kind of people we are. So we tend to want to take action and use initiative. And when in the absence of leadership or direction, there are times that we may have to do that and come back on our own experience and rely on that in our own judgment. And sometimes it's not good. And I can think of a relatively recent experience where I personally had kind of one of those moments for John, in one of these sessions, in fact. So, and that kind of put John in the spot. And I don't know that it really got us, I don't know how much trouble it got in us, but it certainly caught everybody's, his attention. And then, of course, that it got mine. So I said, okay, maybe I need to kind of rethink this. So my point with that is, there's even as much experience as one may have, there are new experiences and new things that you're doing. This is really a new experience for me, being a facilitator, working in sessions and leading an environment like this. And I thought, okay, this would be great to give people some background, but I was not thinking about, this is, and even working in Amazon. thinking, okay, well, there are things that you can do that, you can't, we deal with IP, intellectual property, those kind of things. That really probably should have been a consideration of mine, but I was just too caught up in the moment, for taking initiative and saying, oh, this is going to be fun, it's going to be great, I'm going to put this out here. And well, it was for the moment, and I'm sure that some people stood back a little bit and were like, wow, that's a little strong. And others probably just loved it. But the bottom line is there was, an Adrian, probably thinking, yeah, you probably stepped across the legal line here. You might want to rethink how you approach this. So anyway, that's kind of where we go. We really want to make things work, and the intent is really good, but the results not necessarily always come out the way we want them. They can actually come out pretty horrendous at times, and that's why we have this sort of search for this, this middle ground that moves around on us sometimes, much like loyalty and integrity. So here's some definitions. I'll give you a couple moments to kind of read through these so that you can kind of gather your thoughts and see where I'm going this. And by the way, these are two of the leadership traits, two of the 14 leadership traits by the Marines. I'm going to use this moment also. I'm going to put this up along on the Facebook post, along with what we are, what we already have up there. But what I'm going to put up there, not only this session, like I'm putting up the other sessions, but I've already put together a PowerPoint for the 14 leadership traits. And 2 weeks from today, the session that I will lead then in leadership is actually going to be regarding your choice of only one of the 14, and anybody who wants to come out and debate or argue their point is why they think of all the 14, that one is most important. So the reason I'm going to put this up there on Facebook is so you can read through all of them, at your leisure over the next couple weeks. And that way you have an opportunity to kind of go, okay, so which one makes more sense to me? And you may find that you have 2 or 3 or 5 different traits that you really feel compelled with. But during that session, you're going to have an opportunity, if you wish, to come out and speak to one. And I'm just, the reason I'm doing this, I'm just curious, as this family, this Lavenia family here, this Mastermind family, how do people think? Where we come from? What is the source of our upbringing and our cultures and our experiences in our corporate life, our career life, our personal life? What has molded us into that kind of thought? So just kind of keep that in mind. That's not where we're going to go today, but I'm bringing that out so you know that you have a little bit of homework. Okay, so to get into the topic where I'm going to open the floor here shortly, potential scenarios, or these are just considerations, just like I did with loyalty versus integrity. I just want to kind of open your mind to some possibilities here. So what are the kind of things that could affect somebody who is really motivated and wants to do something great and has all the initiative in the world, and they've got the inertia, as we talk about, to move forward, and they're just pressing really hard, and some hurdles get in the way, or some things happen and they ruffle some feathers, those kind of things. So current conditions. And again, I'm not going to read line by line here, but I just want you to kind of look through this list and put in your mind before you come out to talk today, if you like, to share with us just the kind of things that could happen for you. It might be there might be environmental issues. It could be who your leadership is. It could be you as a leader. It could be you in a new position, and having to learn, and you're learning on the fly, as we call OJT, on the job training. There could be all these sort of events. There may be there may be issues that you get to a point, and I'm certainly, many people here have experienced, I know I've experienced this too. Sometimes it's important to keep the ego, the hubris in check, because you can get to a point, we do this, and Adrian, I know we talk aviation a lot, and Wayne, you get to a point, there's a certain number of hours that somebody gets. They may get several thousand hours, they get 5,000, 10,000 hours, and they really think they've got it all figured out. And then it comes and bites them right in the you know what. And they forget something. They just have it all down. So it's important to kind of keep that in the back pocket, I think, at times, and just have some humility in an approach too. And I think in that regard, that probably some of that happened to me when I was putting this together, and I was really excited to come on in a session and be a part of this. And I didn't take the moment to go, just do the analysis, make a judgment on myself, make an assessment about the whole environment, and just do a sort of a quality control or QA check on oneself, or maybe bounce something off of somebody else that's kind of one of your peers. Or if you're going to come out and you're going to be presenting in front of a whole series of people, and this is an action item, and this is really where a company or your company or this environment is going to go, maybe we want to bounce that across, who's next in line, who's kind of looking at you, and it's going to have some representation and reflection on them as well. And the one thing I'll say about that, the Marine Corps is very much about that. And you probably have lived in these environments too, where it is, I won't say it's all about perception, but anybody who sees the uniforms and see how we act, and they see the silent drill team, and see all these things in the Marines, and see our commercials, perception is reality, but we live the dream, so to speak. So when we're getting ready to do these kind of things, we're acting, it's very important that we are briefing those above us that could potentially get their handed to them as well if things aren't going right, just to get some reflection. And you can look at it that way and say, oh, this is such a political move. Or you might want to look at it, what if I was in those shoes? And if you're in a leadership position as a supervisor and you have somebody that's down in the ranks, that's moving up, maybe you consider yourself in that position, and how would that reflect to you? What would you have as an expectation to them to do the same for you? So just up and down the chain, because we're all moving in that direction, whether it's in a huge corporation or you're the only one, you are your business owner. Who are those? You say, well, I don't have anybody I have to. Yes, you do. You have a thing called consumers and customers that are buying your products. So for the Amazonians out there, and for those that are in other membership portals, this is important for you to have this understanding as well, so that people are looking at you, they're looking at me, and that's what they're thinking as well. So there's this perception thing, but having that knowledge, having experience, and again, this whole thing about leadership by example. If I'm using the right tools and the right considerations, that ought to reflect, and hopefully it reflects in a way that the people that are following me are learning as I do, and I'm providing the right guidance. And they see that I'm a good person to be, that they have a willingness to follow. They're not following me because they have to. They're following because they think this guy has his act together. This guy is going to keep me alive, or this guy is going to make it work for me. And frankly, and just I'll interject here, John, you are that kind of guy. And that's why I follow you, because and I don't know how others feel. I'm not going to, speak for everybody else. But I do make that comment because I believe it. We made this comment last night too in our session, and you putting this together for us, you've got my undying loyalty here. And I just said it. I've got witnesses that you're the man. So thank you very much. All right, let's talk about a dilemma, much like the loyalty versus integrity issue. The weight given, the speed of a decision versus the accuracy of assessment or assessments that attribute to a relatively more positive or negative outcome. That's kind of how I want you, so when we are considering what we want to do, the initiative that we want to take, and we really want to go for something, are we taking a few moments, as I mentioned, on the sort of the quality control level or the analysis level? You don't want to get caught up in the paralysis of analysis necessarily, but in that moment, how are we looking at, and are we ready to move forward? And are the costs, you have this sort of risk tolerance and assessment of it. What are the costs as opposed to the, the ROI, the return on investment, so to speak, the return on emotional investment, on mental investment, on physical investment, on financial investment, on your company's investment, on others, on the intangibles, how people feel about you as well, or how they act as a team. So these are all things to take it, and don't get, like I said, don't get too caught up in it too deeply, but just that ought to be sort of one of those situational awareness things that you keep on the back of your mind, and we move forward from that. And Glenville Kleiser said, you can develop good judgment as you do the muscles of your body by judicious daily exercise. This guy was a Yale University professor and a scholar, and worked at the School of Divinity there back in the turn of the 19th and 20th centuries. I think he lived to 1957, and wrote a lot of books on the very subjects that we're dealing with now, on mindset, on positivity, laws of attraction. So, and he's got a whole series, a litany of books, a whole series. And I put the link down there, so if anybody wants to follow along, and again, I'll put this on Facebook so you can get into these and pull this information up. With that, I'm going to stop share, and I am going to open the chat for everybody, and everybody wants to step out here, has any comments. It's kind of an interesting subject. We'll see where this goes. Hey, Joe and Gina have their hand up, and I'm going to lower the hand and come on out, guys, and we'll start with those of you from Florida.
Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day or a good night or whatever it is. Thank you all for being here. And this is a great, great subject. I haven't been totally physically here as much as I'd like to be. I've been struggling super heavily, as you guys know, with a few things. But exactly what you said, Mark, sometimes when you get into things, you have to assess exactly what the cost is and whether it's something that you can weigh the profit and the benefit, or whether you need to decide, your efforts and your time and whatever are best served somewhere else. And these are challenges for me, because when I take on a challenge, I think I may have been a Marine in a past life, I'm not sure. But when I start with something, I just don't want to let go. That rope is just there. And sometimes I drown myself trying to get to the top because it's sinking. So, it's not always a benefit that you don't know when to let go. So I struggle with that a lot and a lot and a lot. And I don't want to be a loser. I don't want to be a failure. I don't want to be a quitter. But then again, you could be a loser, a failure, and a quitter if you don't know when to quit or when to stop or when to make that change. There's a certain point of intelligence or knowledge or realization that you come to, and you say, okay, well, we need to change course because this is not right, or that's not right, or we need to take a different approach, or we need to follow this person and delegate, or we need to do whatever. But, this is where I've been for a while now. And I'm hoping to get some more out of this, because I'm still on a cusp as to exactly how I want to do it. COVID-19 opened up 6 months for me, and I can't sit still and just wait for it to be over. I started a couple businesses, and now they're all flourishing, and it's like, holy crap. Each one of them needs full time, and I don't have 3 of me, so I don't know what to do. But yeah, I'm sure everybody else is dealing with it too, because there are people that work for other people, and they have their full-time jobs, and that's what they count on. And then they try and get independent, and you know how that goes. Sometimes it works really, really well, and sometimes it might not be what fits a person. So I'm interested in hear what everybody else thinks, because I mean, I can use as much help as I can get right now to figure out what I'm going to do. So thanks for listening, and thanks for bringing this subject up, because this is exactly what I've been toying with, and I really appreciate it.
This is a great opening, Gina. You were the only hand up when we started, and then there were some things that you had said that I think just opened the can of worms. So now I've got a whole series of hands, and it's
Send it
exactly
to me.
what I think we're all dealing with. So thank you very much. Thinking, oh man, we're going to have a vacuum here. Well, where is this going to go? But you know, but your comments to great initiative. You're really pushing forward. But where is that moment? Where is that moment that you say, you fish or cut bait? Where do I make the drop? Where's my decision point? How far do I go into this? How much
Yeah.
do I take a loss? When do I start redirecting? I've had this conversation with John even. It's like, how far do you go down the rabbit hole before you go, you know what, this is really not good. I need to make some changes. So these are all things I took initiative, I moved forward, and I was carrying the load. It's like you get stovepiped, you get funneled, you just start going down there, and then you have to
Yeah.
start making decisions, and you can get spread thin. So this is a great start, Gina. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much
Way
for
to open
bringing
this
it up,
up.
because I just needed to get that out, and I didn't want to do it because I thought, oh, it's not appropriate. We don't really want to get into the negative stuff, but you opened it, so here I am.
And thank you very much. Fantastic.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Okay, so the next person I have is Teresa, and then after Teresa with Bill, and then Elmer and Hong. So go ahead, Teresa. I'm opening it up here. Let me lower the hand, and it's on you.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Mark. Great topic and right on time, right? When the student is ready, the teacher magically appears. I know you and I have had a little conversation about this somewhat in the last couple of days. I definitely have been weighing the risks, assessing my risk tolerance, emotional and mental, certainly financial. It actually has been 4 weeks of me trying to kind of manage this packaging thing, which I thought was solved the beginning of this week. And this email that I got this morning, when I thought everything was shipped out, and I got an email this morning again that pushed me into another day of just throwing my hands up. Like, why am I doing this? Right. And we do, and point on, Gina, like we feel uncomfortable talking about anything that maybe is negative, because we're all about being supportive of each other and positive and uplifting and law of attraction and everything like that. But I've been pushing. I mean, my initiative, my inertia has just been forward since May. And actually it's been since March. March 15th is when my job ended. They closed the business. So I'm exhausted. I'm going to be honest. Mentally and emotionally, I think, are the top two. And I kind of don't even know what else to say. But I'm going to listen with an open mind and heart. And hopefully by the end of this call, I will be in a different place, because I usually am. So I feel confident that I will be. So thank you for just allowing me to speak up, because sometimes that is enough to move stuff on. So
thank you, Teresa. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the one point I would make with this is just food for thought. Everybody has their own way of managing those sorts of conditions. Maybe it's time to take the pack off for a moment and go do something that we want to do. I think Virginia got on a train and she took off and went to Colorado and back. And I mean, there are different things people can do. Maybe you just need to step away, completely divulge yourself with all that's going on, and just let do the data dump and do a restart.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I
I have been trying to do little bits of it every day, and I feel like I'm not, and I've been putting attention to all these different parts, all of these working parts, still working on this possible new job, still, like developing, I'm really enjoying developing the nutrition talks. And, so I've got my feet in 3 different puddles, but perhaps I just need to step away. Like, you kind of feel guilty. I feel guilty stepping away because I don't have anything else. I mean, I have other things going on, but like in terms of driving this business forward, it kind of feels like, well, you can't really step away, like, but perhaps you're right. One full day, get in the car and just go somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah.
fresh air, something totally unrelated. Say, don't even try to contact me. I'm out there in the middle of nowhere. I'm not to be found. Just complete separation, just for you. That's it. So
That's
thank
great.
you. Thank you,
Advice.
Trace.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay. Bill, it's your turn, and then Elmer.
Hi, guys. Therese, I know how you feel. And what Mark has just told you is exactly right. And it's not a day. If you need 2 days, if you need a week, you just step away for a week. That's the bottom line. Look after yourself. You're number one. You come on here and you fill our hearts with all your positivity 9 times out of 10. And the day that you need it, then you've got to look after yourself. And certainly we will all support you. So do not feel afraid of it. Just do it. Get out there and go for long walks and sit and stare into the space for hours on end and just do nothing, because it's wonderful. It does work. It really works, and it'll work for you. Mark, brilliant. Absolutely spot on, sir. Gina, I'm gonna argue with you, Gina, about the negativity side. I took a positivity side from that, but I know exactly what you mean. I got positive about it because it is about real life. Yes, you intimated about the Marines, the Corps d'Esprit, etc. That comes from all what you have done before, Mark, and what you've experienced, and I can relate to that very easily. And it is a team thing. And it's great that we have a team here that operates that way. We all operate. For making dilemmas or putting yourself in a dilemma, and Therese has got a dilemma at the minute between the business or looking after yourself. Yeah, we all had to make these dilemmas. I've made dilemmas like that even when I was a junior police officer. Catching somebody that was breaking the law, I would always ask them questions, and say, listen, you don't have to answer these questions, but it'll help me assess who you are and what you're about. And I would listen to their story. And if I felt they were genuine, well, I've had a real life before I was a police officer. I know that sticky situations arise, and sometimes you've just got to turn a blind eye and think, right, okay, this is your one and only break, kid. If you fuck it up, I will. Oh, pardon French, but if you... Sorry, we're not back to Full Metal Jacket, guys.
You had a real moment there, Bill.
If you mess it up, I will come back and haunt you. But that's the sort of dilemmas that we face every day. All of us face a dilemma every day. And as regards assessments, I'm a one for always going with my gut. Yes, you can go with your head, but I find my head asks too many questions and comes up with the wrong answers. If you have a feeling on that sixth sense that it's not right for you, then you cut, as you said, Mark, cut the bait and step away from it. We'll move on to the next slide, basically. And the last thing I'll leave you with is follow a leader. In all the years that I've either done a bit of military or the policing, I could count on one hand the number of people I would call a leader. And that is the truth. There were many bosses, but they were not leaders. And it takes you to be a special sort of person to be a leader. You've got to be able to encourage people to do things. You don't shout at them or bark at them to do things. And the better people that the team is the ones that want to do it for no reason. They just want to do it. It's not to please you, but they feel the operation is correct. And this is what's needed. And they are the best for you to be leader of, because they will follow you down as far as you want to go. No matter whether it be into hell or what, they will go with you. And I would reiterate what you said, Mark, there about Mr. Lavenia. You look at him and I can see me in him, didn't have a great childhood, got into bother, got lots of things done. As opposed to John, where his went well, mine got decidedly worse as life went on. But in the end, yeah. I'm here and I've made it through. And I thank those that cared for enough for me to get me to this point. But yeah, I'm happy to follow in behind our young John. I can call him that. But thank you, Mark. Great session. Thanks.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, and be careful, Bill, because he gets to have the last word on this show. So, so you never know where that might go. And remember, he's always saying, "Hey, I never know what I'm going to say till it comes out of my mouth." Right? So funny. So okay, thanks, Bill. Elmer, you're up, and then Jamie, and then Hong. So go ahead.
Hey, Mark, thank you so much
up.
for the topic. I mean, this is fantastic. And thank you everyone who's gone before. I mean, like what struck me, especially since we're all in this e-commerce business is, you know, in the digital world, everything is going light speed and super fast, 24/7, nonstop. And like, even from the beginning of when we started doing this, you know, there was a momentum of excitement, and then, you know, hearing everyone's stories, you're sort of getting caught up in like, oh my gosh, like, where do I need to be? Like, you know, I should just keep moving forward. And, you know, I think as everyone's sort of spoken to, it's like, we do need to take a breath, like, need to take a breath, you know, at times we'll be spinning or going down rabbit holes or have blinders on. But, and I think that's what's great about this group at this time. It's sort of like, it's our moment to take a breath and hear other people's stories. And, you know, there are times when Hong San and I don't know, sometimes it's too much with like, you know, it's been great to hear, but then, you know, every once in a while we'll just fall off. And then, you know, the moment that we fall off, we're like, we miss the group. We need the breath. We need the moment to get other perspective. And I think we need to allow ourselves to do that, because it's very easy to hear what everyone else is doing and be on 24/7. But, you know, I think in the intent of, I guess, self-preservation, to just have a calmness every once in a while. I mean, it may not be always possible, but I think it's just a good reminder that we need to breathe. So thank you for bringing this up.
Thank you, Elmer. Good information. Appreciate your sharing. And just something that kind of stuck in my mind regarding this. What are the 4 worst words that anybody can ever hear when they're talking to their group or their team leader? It says somebody goes and leans in and goes, "I have a shortcut." And then you go like, "Oh no." You know, so sometimes those shortcuts just go down the wrong direction. So just kind of keep that in mind. Stick to the plan, but know, you know, or the other one in aviation is know when to go. It's you know, kind of aviators when they have to punch out of an airplane and it's you know, there's no saving it. You can, you know, keep yourself alive. So always look back and where are you at that moment? You want to be there after the fact or not? Hey, Jamie, you're up, and then Hong's next, and then Nancy's after that.
So look, Gina, you quit beating yourself up. I mean, we have all been here. We're all going to be here again. The frustration, I call it the uncomfortable reasoning, where sometimes you have to have reason in your head, and I say you, I don't mean you, I mean us, in our heads that, you know, maybe it's time to pull up stakes and this wasn't what I should be doing. Or for us, and I posted this earlier, that, you know, we don't step back because I think for me, I feel like I'm quitting if I pull up, if I tap the brakes. That's so not the case. We're not quitting. We're not quitters on here. It's just take a breath. Elmer hit it right on the head. Take a breath. Take a day, take 2 days, take a week, reassess, have that uncomfortable reasoning if you have to. Use your instinct. Bill said gut, use your gut. That's I think when you say you go with your gut, you're going with your instincts, right? We all agree with that, I believe. I had a coach in college, a football coach in college, and he used to, you know, we're dragging and our heads are down, and he used to go, he'd start to scream and he at the top of his lungs, this guy won 200 games in his career. He said if it were easy, there would be a line from here to, and he would name a town that was maybe 30 miles away. If it were easy, there would be a line from here to the town. And it's not easy. I think we're finding out this trip experience is not as easy as we might have been at reading an hour a day, and all of a sudden we're going to be making, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars. That may be the case, but I think we're finding it's taking a lot of work. And I'll leave you this with one quick story. You all probably know of Shark Tank over here in the States. There's a guy on there, he's called Mr. Wonderful. His name is Kevin O'Leary. Very, very successful. And I was watching him, he was at a conference in front of 1,000 people, and he was telling a story about a kid that was in his class that said, I've got a problem. And this kid was writing code for the financial services, for hedge funds, to make sure that these guys were all staying within the law. And he was already, he was selling this software. It was like $4 million was his sales out of his dorm room. He was in college. And what he said to him, he says, I've got a problem here. My fiance said I need to pick between my job, what I'm doing, and her. And Kevin O'Leary's point was, and it could be the other way around. It could be a woman and her fiance. It's just, the point is, he said, well, you have a choice to make. And he goes, I don't know what to do. And he said, I can tell you this. What is easier to replace? So his point was, it's probably easier to replace your fiance than the job and the business you've created that is creating you. I mean, it's what you want, it's what you love, it's the entrepreneur, right? You're going to work days and nights, and you're going to miss your family, and you're going to miss your kids, and you're going to miss the social functions. But that's what we've chosen to step into as we're stepping into, or have stepped into, this entrepreneurial world. So all I would say to you is, Gina, stick it, keep it, stay in there, chin up. Joe, I'm sure Joe, you're probably the best supporter ever on the planet for her. Just keep going. We're all here for you. There are going to be ups and downs. It's just what we do. Thanks.
Thanks, Jamie. And the one point that came up for me there too is, which I think there's a theme kind of developing here with everybody's comments, is, we've all got a lot of initiative. We're getting off the inertia table. We're moving forward, but there comes a point when we're consumed and we're tired and we're not seeing the forest through the trees. And that's when poor judgments and poor decisions start to take effect, because we've gone past our level of endurance. And it's good to push the envelope, but you get to a point where you start just making mistakes, and some of them can be really, really nasty. Hong, you're next, and then Nancy, and then Sonia. Hong, are you there?
Hello, yes.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, no.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, getting an echo.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, sorry about that. Thank you, Mark, for today's topic, and thank you for everyone who spoke before me, because what you guys said also struck a chord with me. The whole thing with initiative and judgment. On a personal level, I consider myself someone who does take initiative, and I'm very proactive in my work life. And I kind of, how do you say, in roles that weren't right for me, where the people around me, especially say my manager, boss, was not open-minded, I felt that my initiative got crushed, because essentially, I'm not going to wait around to be told what to do. I'm an experienced professional. You brought me here to get stuff done. I'm going to be thoughtful. I'm going to be, very careful, and I will do my work. I'm not going to wait for someone to tell me. But anyways, long story short, where I felt disempowered and diminished were in places where basically your bosses are like this on top of you, and they basically suffocate and suck the life out of you. And this whole discussion just reminds me that, like what Bill said, you got to trust your gut, and if we're so lucky, try to work with people who actually are leaders, who let us breathe, right? And what even Elmer said, being able to take a pause, breathe, connect with inside our experience and our judgment and do what is right given the information you have, right? So, I mean, thank you for today's discussion, because I feel like it really just reminds me that you really need to have some trust in yourself as you kind of navigate through things. And also, yes, surround ourselves with like-minded people who lift you up and allow you to share your contribution with everyone. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Hong. Something I took from that that share is, you know, how we can kind of get, if we're in that corporate environment, how it is that somebody who is up the pecking order from us can quell our initiative, it's not that. It's one of these things, you know, you're making me look bad by doing this. No, I'm not making you look bad. You're making yourself look bad. And that's a hard line to walk, because that now, if you're in an environment where you may say that to yourself, but you start talking that way to others, then now you've just kind of skylined yourself as well. So that's a tough place to be. I've been there. I'll bet many people have been in that position too. So it's just, you got to move on from that. In this environment as entrepreneurs, and what we're doing here, that's not necessarily as much of an issue for us. So just kind of keep that, maybe that's one of the impetuses for us being in this environment now. So thanks, Hong. So thank you. Hey, Nancy, you're up, then Sonia, and then Ingrid.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So in the light's kind of weird in my place right now. My yoga class this morning, you know, I really struggled with what to do today. And last night when I went to bed, I was feeling really overwhelmed with all of the projects that I am also involved in. Therese, you were talking about having your hands in multiple buckets. My buckets are more than I can support. I'll just say that. And I just was feeling this, like, so overwhelmed by so much input that I just don't even have the energy to output or outflow. And so I wish you had been in class this morning. Koila was there and Debbie, but really my whole thing was slowing down enough to actually feel your own internal rhythm, to try and understand the importance of when you're moving on a cellular level, like a soma level, a body level. It helps you figure out the pacing at which you need to do your life and how to make the best decisions. And when I do that and take my own medicine, it makes a huge difference, because I've been anxious, I've been unproductive and all over the place, because I've been trying to do something at a pace that doesn't fit my own rhythm. So the ROI, your return on investments, is so important. Like, if you're putting out so much, but you're not getting back what you're hoping, then there's an issue there. So I just wanted to share that experience. And I love what Jamie said too, about just, you know, breathing and stopping. And Mark as well. It's like, when you try to make a choice from a place of anxiousness, or that you're feeling behind, your choices are not going to be good. I mean, it's from my experience, the choices are much higher quality when we're moving from a place that's like sensible, grounded, and clear. So I guess for me, it's really about honoring that rhythm, and each of us have a different rhythm, and yet we hold each other together. And so I think that's all I wanted to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Actually, a word that I kind of took from that is towards the end was hasty, and you mentioned anxiety. Those are, you know, you're tired. You've got too many irons in the fire. You start making, you know, decisions that aren't in the best interest. There's just too much there. Again, a lot of initiative, a lot of inertia. We're moving forward, a lot of things happening, and then you have to start picking and choosing, slowing down. I really get that. Thank you. That was great information. Thank you. Good point. Sonia, then Ingrid, and then Kim. Sonia, you're up.
Hey guys, how's it going today?
Great.
Thank you, Mark, so much for this. Today is my day off, and I wasn't going to join today, but apparently it was the perfect day to join because the topic is phenomenal. Nancy, totally agree with you. And yes, understand the same situation here. Been working a lot, been putting a lot out, not getting a lot of soul in. But there was something that Mark said that reminded me of what my mom used to say all the time. My mom, God bless her soul, God rest her soul, was a brilliant woman. And she always said that a high pain tolerance does not serve you. You put up with more than you personally should. You stay longer than your natural rhythm should. And like, how many of us have stayed in a job that didn't serve us longer than we should have, or in a relationship that didn't serve us longer than we should have? And your body gives you clues, just like Cyril was saying the other day, and Nancy said just a minute ago. Your thoughts start to turn differently. Like for me, I get very negative and I start arguing with people in my head, even though there's nothing to argue about. I'm just tired. And my eating habits change, your sleep, your bowel movements change, your body starts to talk to you. And for me, and I think maybe for some of the other people on the call, from what they've said, it takes the change in the body to bring your attention to, wait a minute, this situation is painful to me, whether it's emotionally painful or just stress or just physically painful. It is painful to me. And having that high pain tolerance means we just put up with shit, and it breeds exhaustion and frustration. So I am working at every day, in every way, get better and better, and I'm lowering my pain tolerance. So that's what I wanted to share, because that made me think of my mom and what she always said. And yeah, I guess being able to just recognize when your body speaks, recognize that it is speaking, and take the time you need so that you can make those decisions, or you can even just look at the situation from a position of strength and clarity. And that's all I have to say today. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Sonia. Your high pain tolerance doesn't serve you. That is, there's a reason we have pain receptors. There's a reason that we feel this stuff. It's sort of it's the, hey, what are you doing moment. That's great, because I am a total violator with that, Sonia. I'm with you on this. Just, I go down that path, I get in that, and I just, hey, when are you going to back off and kind of regroup? I think, we have a couple people here kind of experience that. By the way, if you see me looking down, it's because I take notes, folks, on the comments of everybody. I just think it's important to keep track of what we're saying. This is good for me as well. Okay, Ingrid, you're up, and then Kim. Come on out. Ingrid. Where are you at, Ingrid? I know you're there.
Am I there now?
Yes, ma'am. Bring it.
Okay, good. Hi, how are you doing?
Good. Great.
Thanks for your talk today. At first I was listening to it and I wasn't at all understanding it. I have to admit, I was thinking, what? But then slowly I got it a little better. So it was really nice to hear everyone talking, which brings me to another point. I think I don't use enough words when I think. So it's really good to hear people talking. If that makes any sense at all. Probably not. Because then people say things and I go, yeah, actually that's what I'm thinking, except I hadn't put it in words. About getting overwhelmed, or it's too much, or it's not right, or whatever. I think it's really important to really listen to the little signs that happen. I think oftentimes we don't listen enough to the little signs, or take note of them, or take them seriously enough. Just little tiny signs that'll tell you, maybe no, not now, hang on, not quite. But we don't pay attention enough. I know myself, when I do, things are tickety-boo. Like, things make perfect sense. I might veer off a path that I was on just because I'm listening to the signs. But when I'm not, I tend to do more of the, I'm sticking to this come hell or high water approach, which usually doesn't serve me well, because at the end you end up not doing it anyway, because really you had a sign earlier to not do it. And also I find when I'm getting too overwhelmed, because I have got so many plates on the juggling board that it would be simple. I like to sort of ask if some of the stuff could get worked out while I'm sleeping. And that really helps. That's it.
Thanks, Ingrid. I don't know about everybody else here, but I have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, and it's good for me to do a lot of listening. Sometimes I don't, and I have to catch myself. So your point is well taken, at least for me. And thank you.
No, I didn't mean it against you in any way. I was
No,
just
not at all.
totally confused. That's
Not at
all.
all. No, that was great, because having 2 ears and 1 mouth means I'm more receptive. I think there's a reason that it's made that way, so I can take in information, and it just helps me have a better understanding. I didn't see that as a negativity at all. Not at all.
Okay.
So not at all. No, it was a good point. I thought it was a great point. And I violate that more times than not. So like right now. So anyway, next one up is Kim. Kim, you are our last sharer. Come on out, Kim.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Mark, for this topic today. And thanks, Gina, for kind of opening everything up. There's just so much. I really needed to hear this today. I don't even know where to go right now. I guess I'm just going to shoot from the hip. And I think what spoke to me most was, Therese, and just the feeling of overwhelm. I too am at that place with, shipping the product and trying to get my GTIN or, my branding. I'm working on the branding and just a lot, and trying to make decisions and not wanting to make a wrong decision, and thinking, oh my gosh, what have I gotten myself into? And I have so many, as Nancy said, I think Nancy said, so many buckets that I have my hand in, in right now. But so I took a walk the other day, and I know I tend to get a little spiritual because that's just who I am. So sorry if I'm offending anybody with that, but so I took a walk the other day, and it seems so often in this journey, when I get to that place and I just say, okay, God, what am I doing here? What am I doing? And every time there's a response in that way. That's how I got my name, my company name. That's how I got my company logo. That's how I got my design for my brand. And so yet again, I was at that place and just said, oh my gosh, Lord, I'm so tired. I'm just so tired. This journey is so long and I'm tired. And so I was listening to a sermon, and in the middle of that sermon, how videos come up, advertisements such as John Lavenia on some of my videos. But anyway, another, the same from that same minister came up, and it was, the topic was on dreams. So I tried to find that on YouTube. And obviously it was a new one, but I found an older one. And so I guess that's what I wanted to say to you, Therese, was what stood out to me in all of this was in that topic, when he talked about dream, let me say 2 things. Number one, he used the analogy for dream, that when you have a dream, and I would venture to say we all have a dream, right? We're pushing toward a dream here. We want we want to be an entrepreneur. We want to do that in the e-commerce platform or wherever else we're pursuing that at. And so he said, for dream, a dream for D, it distinguishes you. And his name's Jensen Franklin, by the way, so I don't want to take his information. R is, it releases the potential in you. E, it encourages you and helps you to encourage others, which is what we are definitely doing on this platform. A is for attitudes, and I'll briefly touch on that. He talked about Orville and Wilbur Wright, and their father was a Methodist minister, and told them if God wanted us to have wings to fly, he would have put wings on us. And they said, well, you know what, we're not going to believe that. And they pressed through to create, obviously, the first plane. And then M is motivate. And so I wanted to say that. And then the other thing that really stood out in that for me was, he said that, he says, when you get to your circumstances become inconsistent and overwhelming for you with respect to your dreams, you have two choices at that juncture, to give up on it and settle, or to believe that life will catch up with you in your dream. So that's, I guess, what I want to speak today is that, you know, life will catch up to us in our dream when we continue to pursue that. And, you know, there are moments that we need to step away. You know, there's moments where we need to take that walk, or we need to take that weekend off like Virginia did. Or, you know, like I keep saying to my husband, you know, throughout the week, I'm focused on this. I'm laser focused. But by the time the weekend gets here, I'm so overwhelmed, you know, and I'm sorry, John, I can't be on all of the video calls that you guys are on, because for me, it overwhelms me. It just overwhelms me. But this call here helps me to stay focused and helps me to pursue the rest of my day and stay focused on the business. So, and then I take that weekend and I say to my husband, look, we need to go do something. Let's get out of here. Let's go somewhere. So I guess I want to say that to you, you know, Teresa, it's okay to take time off. It's okay to say, I need a moment, or I need this, or I need, you know, to take a day or two off, you know, because if we're not grounded in our mind and grounded in our body and grounded in our spirit, then we're off kilter. We're not in center. We have to be centered. And so I guess that's it. That's all I have. So, okay.
Kim, that was a great wrap up for our session today. And to use that acronym and to use your experience. And I hope that message is working with some of the members here who are looking at trying to kind of encapsulate what they're doing and reprioritize and also take a breath.
Yeah.
With that, I'm going to let this
Okay.
go. Go ahead, Kim. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because it's so easy, at least for me, I don't know about the rest of you, but it's so easy to become overwhelmed when you begin to think about all the, you know, challenges that are before us with this Amazon business. What about this? What about that? What about this? Oh my God, I didn't think about that. And so, you know, it's just, you have to just take it as it comes and take a breath. Like, who said that? Jamie, you know, I love that. You just got to take a breath, you know, breathe in, breathe out. And if you got to step away, then do that. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Kim, for your share. Hey, the magnet, Mr. Lavenia, session is over for any, I'm just dropping this off. Is there any last comments you would like to make, sir?
Well, I will just say that, Kim, I can't be on every session either. We're insanely busy. I'm running 4 businesses. You got an Amazon business. I got 4 businesses. And obviously, you know, the John Lavenia product is one of them. However, I've got an archive. Like I was just logging into our members site, the John Lavenia Success Mastermind, and holy crap, the amount of content. This is like amazing. This is like an encyclopedia of personal and professional development that's growing here. And I think the best part is I didn't even have to originate all of it, right? We got guys like Mark and yourself, Kim, and everyone else who participates here, where I might get a breakthrough and I didn't even expect the source, right? It was Hung San, right? Bam, I got it. I got the message. My batteries are recharged, right? So consistency is the most important thing, not necessarily quantity, but consistency. And I want to acknowledge Nancy Burtonshaw as well, who delivered a slow down and perceive your own rhythm session today. So Nancy, I just invented that title for your session this morning. So that's what's in our running archive. So if you missed the session and you want to attend, go into the recorded section and you'll get all that. We do have a couple of things happening. I'm sorry, did somebody have a comment? No, we do have a couple things happening today. Actually, one thing happening tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, Brand Builder with Shannon Lavenia. So tune into that if you're interested in growing your brand. Also, be on the lookout for special events. We do have, we have one special event that just went to a regular event, and that is tomorrow and each Friday moving forward at 4:30 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. We have integrative nutrition with Therese, our friend Therese. We'll be doing that each Friday. But a week from today at 5 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, we do have a copywriting workshop with an expert copywriter who's one of their main focuses is Amazon copy, right? So sales copy for the purpose of selling products online. And that's all included. That's all part of the deal. So glad you're here. Invite a friend. We do have an affiliate link if you're interested in being an affiliate of our products. And I just want to say my utmost respect to all of you who are here, because if everyone who needed this was here, we wouldn't be able to fit everybody on the platform. I don't care how big Zoom is or YouTube, right? People need to be in this conversation. Few are. Many are called, few are chosen, as they say, Mark. The few, the proud, the members. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up with that. Mark, thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone, for participating. We'll see you tonight on Brand Builder. Bye for now.
All right. Thank you,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you.